Joining me now is Mayor Lori Lightfoot of Chicago. Chicago's public schools canceled classes this past week because of a dispute between the city and the teachers union over COVID safety measures. Mayor Lightfoot, welcome to Meet the Press.
It's my pleasure to be here.
So in some ways, what's happening in Chicago is an outsized version of what's happening in a lot of cities and a lot of communities. So let me start with this. Are kids going to be in school this week in Chicago?
Well, I'm doing everything I can to make sure that that happens. And to be clear, what the Chicago Teachers Union did was an illegal walkout. They abandoned their posts and they abandoned kids and their families. We are working diligently every single day at the bargaining table to narrow the differences and to get a deal done. My team has been working every single day. They're back at it again here Sunday. They were at it yesterday. And we can get a deal done if there's goodwill on both sides. But fundamentally, what we cannot do is abandon the science. We know that the safest place for kids to be is in-person learning in schools. And we've spent hundreds of millions of dollars to make our schools safe. They are safe. We've got the data to demonstrate that. We've got to get the teachers union to get real and get serious about getting back into in-person learning.
Look, I know you're making these demands. What leverage do you have? How can you force this to happen? Or are you a little bit at the whim of the teachers union?
Well, the leverage I think we have is that we've got the will of the people. Parents are outraged, and they are making their outrage known to the teachers union. This is a very different dynamic than ever before. We've got an enormous amount of parent activism. They are writing letters, emails, they are protesting, they're holding press conferences. This is an unprecedented level of parent activism, all in support of returning to in-person learning. And we know why. We live in a district where 70% or more of our kids qualify for free or reduced lunch, which means they live in households that are poor and working class, which also means that they live in households with single parents, mostly women of color, who have to work to be able to keep the home together. So this walkout by the teachers union, which is illegal, has had cascading negative ripple effects, not only on the students and their learning, their social emotional welfare, but also on the families themselves. It is making them have tenuous financial status because they have to work, but they also have to take care of their kids. This is an untenable situation and completely, utterly avoidable. So I'm going to be on the side of the parents, fighting every single day to get our kids back in school.
All right, so what do you do this week, though? The teachers union, they've sent you a proposal. Some of the things that the public school system has said no to include, for instance, a metric for when remote learning would be triggered. And do you think it should be, would you accept a school-by-school metric versus a district one? What do you think is a fair compromise here?
Well, we already sent them a school-based metric on Tuesday before they walked out, which they rejected without any response, just saying it's not good enough. So last night, my team turned around a point-by-point response that deals with school metrics, which deals with testing, and a number of the other things that, frankly, we don't have disagreement on. The biggest issues is remote testing, remote learning, which we categorically reject. We have set up and I think responded to many of their issues regarding testing. So I think we can get agreement there. We have put together a revised proposal for a school-by-school metric, which really mirrors what we've been doing, Chuck, all along this year. We haven't sat idly by and let COVID rage through our schools. When there's been a necessity to shut down a classroom or shut down a school to go to remote learning, we've done that. And what I think is really important is of the cases that we can tie to schools, it's 53 outbreaks. And an outbreak is defined as 2 or more. Our average is 2.5 kids in the school setting where we believe that they may be related to schools. So we're doing what we need to do. We're following the science. And what I won't do is allow the teachers union to politicize this surge or the pandemic in general. People are nervous. They are scared. We get that. But the thing to do is to lean in to the facts and the science and not abandon them in a panic.
There does seem to be reports that you are short of tests, or the school system's short of tests. The governor apparently made a request to the White House. I know the way the funding mechanism works, that you'd have to find the extra money. Is that going to happen? Are you working with the governor for more testing? Are you willing to sort of flood the zone even more with certain tests that may not be the same tests that the system is using now?
Yeah, we've been doing that all along, and I'm happy to report our public health director found additional tests this week, which we notified the union about, and we're immediately putting into action. The governor yesterday announced that he would sell us 350,000 additional tests. But what we need is the support of our school nurses, who the union has not allowed to be activated to help on the front lines with this fight. So if they're agreeing to support the school testing regime that we are willing to set up, we can get this done. But again, we need their cooperation and support, and not have them be on the sidelines being critical, throwing bombs. We need them in this fight with us.
Where do you find the extra staff, though, that's needed right now? Look, let's say you didn't have this dispute. You'd still have staff shortages. We're seeing it in schools all over the country. Is there a good plan to fill that gap? Or as a nation, do you think we should be pausing for a week or two?
No, I don't think we should be pausing. Again, we've got to follow the science, and the science tells us that the schools are safe and our kids learn best and are safest in person. What we're doing regarding staffing is providing even more incentives for substitute teachers. We're doing everything that we can to continue getting our staff healthy. And look, the reality is the teachers and the staff, we've got 92% of them that are vaccinated. So we've got a very highly vaccinated workforce. That, again, isn't the issue. We can't play into fears. We've got to deal with the science and the data and the reality. And yes, there's a lot of concern. There's a lot of concern about the spread. But if we work together collaboratively, we can address this issue.
Any chance?
No question.
Any chance that I've got to let you go, but any chance school opens tomorrow? Unlikely.
Well, we're working like the Dickens to make sure that we get a deal done today. So I remain hopeful.
All right, Mayor Lori Lightfoot of Chicago, Illinois. Madam Mayor, thanks for coming on Meet the Press.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.